Hello and welcome, my name is Nate from Video Games Recon, and as per usual we're going to be recapping this week's popular culture and gaming news that I find interesting and think you will too. Please keep in mind this video was recorded either early Friday morning or evening on UK time, so some important news could be missing and that this video will be posted most likely on a Saturday. Anywho, enough jibber jabber, without any further ado, let's do it to it. Only two pieces of TV or movie news that has caught my eye this week, so let's start with that, then get into the multiple release date announcements and go from there. There is a new interview with the Vampire remake film in the works. Presumably this will have an entirely new cast and you'd imagine story, and will be nice to see some cameos from Christian Slater, Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise in the film. And will probably add some legitimacy to the project, as two of the three tend to be picky about the projects they work on. And as a side note, the director for the upcoming film New Mutants, the X-Men spin-off, is attached to direct. Here's hoping either movie won't suck. Next in TV series news, the rights holders to the Judge Dredd intellectual property are in talks with Netflix and Amazon Prime to make a TV series roughly based on the 2012 Dredd film, according to Karl, the lead in said film. Personally, I think this sounds pretty cool. Although Dredd didn't do that well financially, it did create a highly engaged if niche fanbase. Personally, I think the film was pretty good, so I'm relatively hyped for this. It wasn't an amazing film and could have done with a little more character and story development, but the way in which it was shot was very gritty and stylistic, and the whole narrative of the film is based roughly around a day in the life of Dredd, which is suited perfectly for TV and video on demand services. So yeah, I hope to hear more on this one in the future. Righto, let's get into some release dates of interest. First up, we have a biggie, hitting shelves in Uncharted 4 on May 10th. I never really got into the whole Uncharted series, so for me I'd want to play the collection before I jumped on board the hype train, but there's a lot of people out there excited for this, and might be one of the first exclusive first party games to give people who don't already have a PS4 a reason to pick one up. A word of advice though to anyone thinking of doing such. I'd wait it out till after E3 and see if this whole PlayStation Neo is actually a thing, and if it is, when it's going to drop. Doom is being released on May 13th. Although there is some controversy around the multiplayer portion of this game, personally I'm quite excited to see how the campaign is going to shape up, as I feel this has real potential to impress. Fallout 4's Far Harbor expansion drops on the 16th of May. Being a season pass holder, I'm super excited for this DLC, as what we've received so far has barely kept my interest for more than a couple of days tops, and although it was cheap, it's probably not worth the money in my eyes. Far Harbor however looks dope, with lots of possible quest lines, an intriguing storyline and a new map to explore, which is one of the best things about Fallout. I just hope that they've tweaked the whole settlement thing, as I don't want to be running around babysitting a bajillion settlements. And I hope there's a good level balancing and weapon and armor progression, as I don't want to rock up on the beach of Far Harbor and be OP from the get-go. And as a side note, personally, I think it would be pretty cool to play this DLC as Nick Valentine, instead of the Lone Wanderer. But yeah, anywho, I'm officially on board the hype train for this one. Another Bethesda game in Dishonored 2 gets a release date of November 11th. I don't know what's going on with this game, but this one totally flew under the radar for me and I nearly missed it. You'd have thought they'd have shined more of a spotlight on it, but maybe they didn't want to take attention away from Doom and the Fallout DLC. But if this is the case, then why fucking announce it in the first place? Why not wait till E3? I don't get it. I'm sure they had their reasons, but it doesn't make any sense to me. Mighty No. 9 is actually coming out. Definitely. Probably. Maybe. I hope. This game is slated for a June 21st release, and the developers say this date is set in stone. Well, it damn sure better be, because if not, your already very patient fanbase is going to be really pissed. And last but by no means least for dates this week, the new Battlefield game set in an alternative World War I called Battlefield 1 has been announced. See what they did there? Battlefield 1? World War 1? Eh? That's not going to get confusing or anything. Just ask Xbox. No one gets confused when talking about the Xbox One. I mean the old Xbox One, not the newer Xbox One. You know, the original Xbox One? See, not at all confusing. Anywho, that aside, this game actually looks pretty cool with its biplane dogfighting and alternate history, which excites me way more than the Call of Duty Infinite Warfare trailer, and that's from someone who's not even really into Battlefield. Without the remake of Modern Warfare 1, Activision would have been in a lot of trouble. Truly a shrewd business decision to include a game people actually want. I think businesses could learn a lot from this by, selling stuff their customers actually want. That just leaves the problem of where to put this incredibly large Infinite Warfare coaster. Or does it? As we'll talk more about Infinite Warfare in a second. But first, I'd like to give another shout out to Battlefield again, as they've come up with a very smart marketing campaign to their more casual fanbase, by slowly drip feeding the DLC for both Battlefield 4 and Battlefield Hardline prior to the release of the new Battlefield game, and all for free. Which is not only a smart marketing ploy, but also engenders goodwill towards its fan base, which is a smart move, as it could probably do with a little goodwill after the Battlefield 4 bugs and Hardline not being the game some fans wanted. So, as promised, let's talk a little bit more about Infinite Warfare. First up, the campaign won't feature any co-op play whatsoever, which might annoy a vocal minority, but personally, development wise, is probably a waste of time, as how many people honestly played through the Black Ops 3 campaign at all, let alone co-op? I'd wager not many. And in much more interesting news, Infinity Ward has announced that a zombies mode will feature in the upcoming Infinite Warfare. Again, this is more news keeping a low profile and being swept under the rug. However, the reason for this makes a lot more sense to me, as upon hearing this news I felt conflicted, as although I like the zombies game mode a lot, how long before I become oversaturated with this mode, as I currently am with multiplayer, and no longer give a fuck. As it appears, this is going to be a thing every year at this rate. Personally, I would have much rather they doubled down on the Extinction game mode, as although not perfect, I felt that game mode had a lot more potential to grow into something, as opposed to Exo Zombies for example, which just felt like a poor man's Treyarch Zombies. I feel this could be history repeating itself here. In my opinion, they should have seen where they could have took the Extinction mode, especially as this game is set in space. Sure, Extinction mode needed a lot of work, but so did Nacta and Toten, and look how far Zombies has come now. Sticking with Activision for a minute, thanks to the $5.9 billion acquisition by Activision Blizzard, King Digital Entertainment, the makers of Candy Crush, accounted for 23% of Activision's revenue in the last quarter. So maybe not such a ridiculous business move after all. That said, you're still some ways off making back the $5.9 billion investment, so I wouldn't jet off to Monaco and buy some massive yachts and party out just yet, Activision. I'd give it a minute if I were you. This one's been around for a little while now, but nonetheless I thought I'd discuss the now defunct game 1666 Amsterdam. Made by the creators of Assassin's Creed, this game looks like a quaint but super interesting game racked with potential that never was to be, due to being sold off to Ubisoft after THQ collapsed and went down the toilet, and then seemingly Ubisoft sitting on the project, leaving one to assume so as it couldn't rival Assassin's Creed. However, after an out-of-court settlement, the rights to this game are back with its original creator, so it's possible at some point that this game could yet again see the light of day. In somewhat breaking news, Nvidia's new flagship graphics cards, the GTX 1070 and 1080, have been revealed, and as far as people can figure out by Nvidia's benchmarks, which should probably be taken with a pinch of salt, are far more impressive cards than anyone expected them to be. That said, we should probably wait until they get into some third parties' hands before we freak out about how much better they are than the 980 Ti or Titan X. And lastly, and I really hope lastly on this whole damn topic, at least until we get some concrete news on it anyway, the Nintendo NX will not be sold at a loss come launch, just as the Wii U and many consoles are. This is cool for Nintendo and all, but makes me a little curious, as Nintendo said the hardware inside the NX would feature industry-leading chips, and it's hard to fathom how they're going to do that and keep it under budget and profitable at launch without being very expensive to buy. But like I said, I kinda don't really give a fuck at this point. When Nintendo actually starts to tell us something, anything about the NX, maybe then I can become more excited again, or at least more than disinterested. So, that was my recap of the week's gaming news or points of interest. I'm sure there's a bunch of stuff I'll miss each week, so feel free to post anything you're into that I missed in the comments section for discussion. Anywho, if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share and subscribe for more BS of a similar nature. Thank you and goodbye.